It is November 30th, the year 2015, and this is my vlog for right now. I guess I'm going to do Vlogmas, but I don't know if I should count this one as Vlogmas or not because it's the 30th of November. But we just had Thanksgiving Day weekend, which is like several days, here in my country, in the United States of America. I had a turkey. I got this turkey from like a food bank donation thingamabob. We only got one turkey because you should only get one turkey, and even though a bunch of charities or whatever were giving out turkeys, um, I hate cooking turkey. I just hate it. I hate it. That being said, despite the crappy pan thingy I had, and getting turkey blood all over my dress, the dress I'm wearing right now, yeah, I got that. It got all over my freaking dress. I just did the turkey, and this was on, I actually cooked my turkey on Wednesday, though, and, that was a pain in the ass. That was a whole other story, because he couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted to eat turkey, or whether he didn't want to eat turkey, or whether he wanted it now, or whether he wanted it tonight, or tomorrow, or Thanksgiving. Oh my god, it drove me freaking crazy. And then he went and cooked his own Chinese food anyway, on Thanksgiving. Whatever. Like, that's why a lot of times I usually am just like, why don't we just have freaking Chinese food? Because you just want to eat Chinese food. Like, before, for several years, we would just we would just make hogua, or we would go out to eat or something. Going out to eat is incredibly expensive now. It's the year 2015. Like, what can a dollar buy? I mean, we already went out to this Brazilian barbecue the other day with my niece and her husband. And that just was killer. That was just so freaking expensive. Oh my god. I've never spent that much money at a restaurant ever in my life. I mean, I've spent a pretty good amount of money at a Cheesecake Factory one time for my birthday, and it was nothing that high. It was nowhere near that high. So that was ridiculous. Oh my god. So I go to cook a turkey, and it's a small turkey, and it took all freaking day. I started in the morning, like early in the morning. I've never had a turkey take that long in my life, whatever, but I followed the directions. It was very low heat. It was like 325, so maybe that's why it took so long. But, and I hated turkey. I wanted to just, like, oh, I was so mad, and I didn't even want any, like, because I just was so frustrated with the whole cooking process. But luckily my daughter came home early, and then she wanted to, you know, baste the turkey, because kids love to do that kind of thing. Also, if you have picky children, if you let them help with cooking food, a lot of times they'll want to eat the food that they helped prepare. Even if they say they don't want it, they usually, and almost always, pretty much, they're like, yes, I want this, it looks good, or I think I want some, because they worked on it. Okay? So, turkey was done, and then I pretty much just kept my oven set on, like, the warm setting, and or I turned it off and left the light on, or I would just let it get cold. And the temperature here was crazy erratic. It went like really freaking warm outside. It went to like I don't know, almost 70 or something at one point, and then it dropped again, and it would go like cold warm like this, or it was rainy. It was just bizarre. I mean, I'm not surprised that there's a climate change rally that just happened like yesterday. So, yeah, it was yesterday, like worldwide, because freaking nuts. Climate has changed. So, Thanksgiving Day happened, and then there's a coffee table over there, and then I have my table back there, which you could probably see the legs of right here. I put out different snacks and different things. I also had other stuff that I really wanted to eat, but I just didn't feel like eating it, and I just didn't feel like preparing it, because once you open something up, you have to like put it in a container, or repackage it, and then try and figure out someplace to put it in the fridge or the freezer, or whatever, if you haven't finished it. And so one of those things, I got this awesome, really old, like aged cheddar, and I love aged cheddar, especially sharp cheddar. The older, the better. And I really wanted to eat that, but I just didn't have any feeling to eat it, which is weird. Probably because I love guacamole. Guacamole! Like, I love everything avocado right now. Like, avocado is like this magical, amazing fruit that's kind of savory in general, and it's awesome. And when you eat it, your stomach feels like, yay, I feel wonderful, I feel fine, right? I have IBS, and it's like amazing. So I just eat guacamole whenever I get the chance because it's just amazing. And then I don't like spicy food at all. Like, and by spicy I mean like hot or chilies. But I can handle like on the tamer side of like where it's like warms your mouth. But if it's burning, if it's painful, I cannot handle it. Not only that, but my stomach cannot handle it. And my bowels, the whole digestive system has issues with it. And then I sometimes get like these weird like welts, like these bumps in my skin, in sensitive fleshy parts on my body if I eat too much things with jalapenos in them, or too much ginger, or too much black pepper. I don't know why. Anyway, that was a whole painful thing I went through last month, but let's not discuss that. Anyway, guacamole, some of them sometimes, I feel like they've gotten a lot spicier in the past year, because I've been buying guacamole from Trader Joe's for like 2 years at least or something. At least 2 years now, and they have this one that's like a spicy one that's originally was not that spicy. It just had like chunks in it, and when they first started making it, I was really disappointed because it would have just unmatched chunks of avocado in it that were, I mean, it was like long, and it was like, what do I pay for? I can't scoop it with my chip, I can't stick it on my sandwich, I can't, you know. But anyway, I just was so guacamole. I think I had like 3 different kinds of guacamole. They have this other kind of guacamole that has like Greek yogurt in it, and I love Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is another one of those magical foods that like you eat it and you can digest your food. Yeah. It also has protein in it, which is good. I don't know about you, but I tend to gravitate to food that has benefits for eating it and tastes good. So, moving right along, for the most part, I don't like what I would consider junk food by like having like weird additives that you don't know what is in it. So everything that we bought ourselves was from Trader Joe or Whole Foods, except whatever we had that was like donation foods, like a food bank or whatever. One of those things, actually 2 of them, because there was 2 different boxes, was of stuffing. And the stuffing had MSG in it. So even though I didn't eat any turkey on Wednesday night, or nobody really had that much turkey on Thursday either, which was the actual Thanksgiving. But by Friday, I swear everybody was like, I want some turkey. Now I gotta tell you, this turkey that I cooked is the best turkey that I have ever cooked, even though I hated it when I was making it, and I got turkey blood all over me, and my feet, and my legs, and my dress. But this was the best tasting turkey I have ever had. I didn't know it was that delicious. Wow, I went through gravy like that. I knew I didn't have enough gravy, so I did make him get it. And Trader Joe's, for whatever reason, does not sell turkey gravy at all anymore, even though they sent me like mailers that will say stuff it with gravy or some weird thing that they do. I haven't seen turkey gravy or any kinds of gravy at Trader Joe's since what? I don't know, Obama got elected or something? I don't know. But there's a lot of differences in foods I noticed at Trader Joe's since Obama became president. Don't know why. Do not know why. My hair is terrible, yes, I know. I don't know why, but whenever I take a shower and then I'm done, I don't feel like video blogging, but when I haven't showered, it's sort of like, oh, I'm ripe, so I should video blog. Yay. So, I tried watching the Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving. It's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Starting in the morning, and I was happy. I swear this was like a very philosophical, mental weekend for me because everything would just stir my consciousness, my consciousness, and I was constantly like pontificating a number of things. And I saw George Takei or George Takei. I can never figure out how to pronounce his name because every time I watch interviews of it, he says they pronounce it some different way. Whatever. I love him and I love Star Trek. And yes, I watched a ton of Star Trek this weekend. I watched a ton of Star Trek on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A ton of it. I love The Next Generation. It's my favorite. Um, and I was watching one of the episodes with Lal, which was Data's child. Oh, that was such a good one. See, I'm gonna cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Anyway, yeah. So I was watching the parade, and it's so freaking commercial. Like the whole thing itself is like a billboard in a way for the company of Macy's. But it is just so commercialized. And they had George on there, and George was talking, and he is such a genuine person. If you've ever seen any kind of like interviews of Bruce Lee's wife, or even there's like a video out there of Bruce Lee, and I remember there's one like Steve Aoki was in it, and they were talking about his like authenticity and how he wanted to be true to himself, and every single moment like this is who I really am, and I don't want to be fake, and this kind of a thing, right? And that was like his standard. I feel like George is like that. Like he has this kind of authenticness. So when George was there and he's talking, like he doesn't need anything from them. He's there because he's a genuine person. He just kind of shines. Like when he smiles, he like lights up, and even though he's like an older, like elderly man, he just has this kind of like vibrant energy to him. Like I don't know how to explain it, but everything he said, you could tell whenever he was giving compliments to the speakers, and he was saying all this like really like this nice stuff, and you could tell that he meant it. Like he wasn't being phony. Like there's just something about George that he has that. But the two speakers, the two like pundits, reporters, I don't even recall them reporters, more like pundits. They were so like fake, like they were just so hollow, and even though they were saying all this happy stuff and they were all smiles and everything, they really put me off because it was like, this is what I'm paid to do, this is what I'm paid to be. And I felt like the compliments that George gave to them, like it was so genuine. It's like there's a Chinese proverb, like a person gives you a flower, hands you a flower from a state of love, and their hands smell like flowers. But it was like they just gave you like, like just fake flower or paper flower or something. Um, it just they just didn't have it. They just I don't know how to effectively explain this, but I've had this experience in my own life where I would come across people, and this is like especially in the past like 3 years, because I had really weird experiences with relatives that I was with that were just absolutely nuts. And I would come across people in stores, and we would interact with people who worked at like, for example, like a Whole Foods or something. And the person I was with was like all chatty to the person, and the person that works there is just like, oh, okay, and they're just being very polite, but I can tell in their head they're thinking this person's freaking nuts, right? But like, I don't know, there's certain things that like being around people, whether I've worked with them or like on their outside, on their face, their smiles, and they put the expression on their face, but I couldn't feel from them that it was real, that it was genuine. It was just, I'm just giving you face. and on the inside something else was there or something else wasn't there. And this kind of thing happened so many times that at first I was confused, because, like, they're being polite to me, they're being nice to me, they're being friendly to me. But then as time would go by, the realness that was actually there, they couldn't, cover it up anymore, because it was, what I actually was feeling was that they were something different than they were trying to project to me. And it would usually be that. And when I saw that there's that specific moment, because I don't know how to really effectively express what I really mean, but George had that realness, that authentic genuineness. And why is there this glitter right here? And those other two, they just didn't. And I felt like I saw this theme throughout my whole weekend, because I also was in Panera, and I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, but I was on Twitter and I was tweeting out, because I kept, like, I'm trying not to be rude, and I'm trying to mind my own business, because not only was I raised that way, but, like, you shouldn't eavesdrop on people, am I right? Like, eavesdropping on people is wrong, and it's always been wrong. But for some reason, after George W. Bush was president, all of a sudden, like, privacy doesn't matter, and people, like, eavesdrop and do that or whatever. And I was trying so hard to ignore these two old women chattering and bantering on about whatever they didn't like about things. And every single thing that they said that they didn't like about this person or this society or whatever, they had those exact same, I don't want to say qualities, I would say, like, non-qualities or anti-qualities or lack of quality that they were describing. And they were petty, and they were selfish, and they had this sense of entitlement, and they were saying that these young people did. And I was like, I cannot even believe what I'm hearing. Like, I'm trying not to hear it. I was trying, like, to distract myself. I was trying to, like, do my makeup or check my phone and all this stuff. And so that happened. And then, I don't know, I still had this, I don't know, there's, like, this glitter on my face. Why don't go away? Makes me look like I'm drooling or something. But anyway, yes, it was a very pontificating kind of a weekend. I don't know about you, but every freaking time I try and look stuff up, I feel like it is absolutely frustrating, especially with, there's a website, I'm sure you've heard of it, called Wikipedia, and it changes constantly. And there are so many things that I have looked up over and over again, and when I go to the page, it's completely rewritten, completely. What in particular, like, pages about Socrates have been rewritten so many times in the past 4 or 5 years, so many times. And another one is cynicism. The philosophical cynicism, has been rewritten over and over and over and over. So, like, trying to take note, because then, like, I'll go and I'll find new information on it, because before it was just small. And then they'll say something else, and then you'll have different sections which can say completely different things. And then I will try and look up that, and I'll go to, like, university websites or people who are, like, philosophical, like, enthusiasts, or go to message boards, and then it becomes like a blur again, and then trying to figure out things. So so as a philosopher, like, I'm still, or an aspiring philosopher, I'm still sort of on this path of just sort of rethinking things. And as a philosopher, or I guess I have to kind of call myself a philosopher by now, because I do all the things philosophers do. I still go back to a lot of Eastern type stuff, because whatever I can't, like, whatever I don't have on one end of the, because to me, I feel like philosophy is a Western thing. It is a Western I don't know if you want to say modality, but it is a Western style of thinking. It has logic and reasoning. But when you go over to the Eastern side, I do not consider that philosophy at all, because it does not include this specific logic reasoning type of methodology. It tends to be more either Taoist or even like Buddhist or something. It has sometimes even like it has like an anti-Hindu. Like, I don't want to say it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's, some of it came from around like a Hinduistic period, like a Brahmanistic period, but it's not Brahmin. It's like I don't agree with Brahmin stuff, so I make like Siddhartha. Siddhartha is the guy everyone calls the Buddha, or the first Buddha, or we call him a bunch of things. We call him like Tathagata and Bodhisattva, and there's a lot of other ones as well. But when I go, like, when there's something that I don't, that isn't as apparent in that Western thing, even though they can have very similar things, I will go to the Eastern, and the Eastern variety, they can, I don't know, pose it or present a concept in a really interesting way, or really, I don't know, I just don't have the words today. I am not very good at effectively explaining what I mean today. But, yeah, so I've just been very, very philosophical. I also had started my new job this weekend on Saturday. Okay, so the thing is, I don't have a ride to get there because I'm supposed to be at each location at noon. But I don't have I don't have my own car, and even though the locations, like for example, like one location is BJ's, that's in my town. It's too far to ride my bike in a weather like this, and then even if it was warmer weather, it would take so long to ride my bike there, even though it only takes minutes to do it in a car. The other location is Kohl's. So, first of all, this job is not difficult. It's really easy for me personally. It's like with me personally. I just really like working with people. I like talking to people. I'm a people person. So I'm also very informative, and then I have this iPad here, and you're supposed to show videos. Now, it's not approved to do samples or taste testing or whatever at all. So that's not a good thing, especially at BG's Wholesale Club. And people constantly were like, why can't I try anything? Why can't I da-da-da? So there's nothing I could do. Another thing is the product that I have to demo and sell is a soda maker. But the company that makes the soda maker is known for being a coffee brand, a coffee maker kind of a thing. And people were constantly confused. They're like, what are you selling? Is it coffee? Is it iPad? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's a soda maker. The people who were the most interested in it were 45 and older, and children. Children right away, their head just, right? And the company itself was trying to market it to 20 and 30-year-olds. 20 and 30-year-olds, especially in Greater Boston, have zero interest in it. They are interested in expensive juices and juice bar type stuff from Whole Foods or juicers or things like that. They're not interested in soda gadgets. Okay, and it is expensive. The packaging is the worst packaging to try and grab someone's attention or grab someone's eye. They're completely out of touch with who really is excited about this product. I wanted to talk to their marketing and their advertising department so bad, and I even emailed my boss, and I was like, you have to get me in touch with them, because this is marketed so wrong. This is just, it's not good. Like, you need to focus. I personally would focus it on like grandparents with kids, and I would have it as like a treat kind of a thing. Or I would definitely market it, if it was me, I would market it with like carnival type themes or circus type themes, or maybe even like an old-fashioned diner kind of a soda fountain theme. I just think that the way that they market it was just about the brand and not the product, so you couldn't sell it. It just, everybody has the coffee ones, and the coffee stuff that they make, it sells like crazy. But this soda maker doesn't, so far anyway. But there was definitely people interested in it, but it's expensive. Yes, it was on sale, and that was a good selling point. I just don't know how to force, you can't force people to sell things. Also, if you're pushy, if people don't like your brand. They have bad emotions. If you're pushy, if you're pushing people to do things, and not that I couldn't do that, but people always feel like I don't know, like you took advantage of my politeness. And then they take it back and they'll return things. And I feel like that is a bad model of sales and representing a brand. I'm supposed to represent this brand. Well, I had to start early because I was there early, and they were like, why don't you just start now? And I'm supposed to be there from like noon to 4:45, and they're like, no, I want you out of here before 4 o'clock. They said, I don't want any demos on the floor after 4, and I want you to pack up way before that. So I was on the floor early, and I was selling it. Actually, believe it or not, there was more interest in the product in the morning, even though there wasn't quite as many people in the morning, but it was crowds of people coming in to come and see me. But as the traffic to the people shopping in the store started to pick up around like 1 o'clock, there just wasn't as much interest. Also, I didn't have samples, so whatever. But yesterday, which was Sunday, I had to go to Kohl's. So same thing. My husband dumped me there, and Kohl's wasn't, I don't even know when they opened, but I was in Panera, and thankfully they had a Panera. I had my own little area where I was like all snug, and there was not really that many people there at first, but it was Sunday, and it was like a Thanksgiving Day weekend, so it did pick up a bit around like 11, which was around the time I was leaving anyway. But that was also where those old ladies were. There was also when those ladies left, a dad and his kid came, and this was another thing that kind of really put me off, was there was this kid, and he was explaining to his dad like what he was doing and his projects and stuff he did at school, and it sounded very impressive. It was like technology and designing and invention, all this great stuff, and I'm trying, same thing, I'm like trying not to listen, but the stuff is like penetrating my ears, no matter how hard I'm trying to block it out, and they're like not even near me. I don't know why I can hear that, but I can't hear these other people talking about like nothing, right? But I hear that, and the same thing with when the old ladies were there in that exact same table, and I could hear it just pierces right through to my mind, from my ear to like, and that was very impressive. And it was a young kid. He was probably anywhere from like 9 to 13-ish, and so same thing, I'm like, it's rude, like my mind is like, it's rude to eavesdrop, I shouldn't be eavesdropping, and don't, just ignore it, and I'll try and like sing in my head, or do something, anything, to just mind my own business, because that's what good people do, right? But then he started talking about like marketing, and marketability, and stocks, and all these other things, and he was going on and on like he was like some 25-year-old man, trying to sell things in the stock market, and his vocabulary on this was better than there are financial calls, and they don't even talk about these types of like, most of the stuff I understood, but I was like, oh my god, like, for crying out loud, it's a kid. What are we teaching our kids now? Like, it's this incredible, like, worship of money, and it's like the only reason to do anything is because you want to make money or you want to get money. So then I was very conflicted about like money, because of course I want to make money, but I don't. That's the thing. I think that's it. I don't want my life to be just about money. I want my life to be meaningful. But the way that the society is, the way that the world is right now, it's against that. It's it's more about like you need to feel inadequate and you need to have this thing. And they substitute like branding and all this other thing for like meaningfulness. Like this is somehow an achievement. Like buy these things, have these brands, and that will somehow be a substitute that I want you to think that that's better than achievement, or that is the equivalent of achievement. But buying things is actually not achievement. I don't see how that is achievement at all. Like I get it if like you're trying to, buy a house or whatever, but the way that everything is set up, it's like it's just to put you in debt, to get your money, to keep you in service, to keep you in the job, to keep you down. It never really brings you up at all. Because once you finally go to get that thing that you're supposed to, that you want, now because you have it, you're down. And it's like everything that you get is always used to push you back down. And even though they want to sell it to you to make you believe that you're going to be coming up and it'll make you go up, once you get it, like if you get a car, they use that, it's used to push you down. And also that's basically like one of the flaws, or the flaw of meritocracy, which meritocracy is supposed to be this, people all think it has to do with merit and achievement and you're going to be good and being great and all these things, when actually meritocracy is this pressure to always feel you have to measure up to something. And this branding and advertisements and marketing is this thing that wants to mess with your emotions and your mental self and your self-image, and it's very insidious in a lot of ways. So I personally, when I do my job, I don't want to be on that like insidious end of things. I like to approach it from a human point of view, and I don't like to use negative motivation for anything. Like I don't like to make people feel inadequate if they don't have something. I don't like to make people feel like stupid. I don't like to be like, I'm so awesome, listen to my demonstration of my amazing words and language. No, like I can't stand any of that. My hair is absolutely horrible today. But I felt overall my interaction with people at BJ's was very good. Everybody that worked there was very nice. They came and talked to me many times, people that worked there. In fact, I felt like the product was very interesting to employees at BJ's. Very, very helpful. I did not get a chance to do my makeup at all that day, so I looked like crap. Not only that, but the stuffing that I put in my turkey that I did actually eat the day before, apparently had MSG, so I bloated up and my whole head was like a bubble. My arms were like balloons. I felt like a big chubby monster bubble person. It wasn't good. I felt uncomfortable. And then yesterday, also it like blocked up my bowels or something. So then yesterday, I still was a little blocked up. But towards the middle of the day, I started to, I don't know, deflate or something. And the iPad that I have has a belt to it that goes around my waist or wherever you want to put it. I put it around my waist. And next thing I know, it was drooping so much that it was falling off me. So I guess I was really, really fat the day before. Still kind of fat right now, but probably because I need to lose weight a lot. But anyway, yeah, I don't feel like bloated like I was. I also had an issue with insomnia this week so bad, and I think I have nailed it down to this tea. There are these awesome, delicious teas at Trader Joe's. One is like a autumn harvest blend or whatever, and it has like real cinnamon in it, which is different than the what you usually think of as cinnamon, which is like cassia or something. And this real cinnamon, it makes my heart like really beat like really fast. I had blood pressure issues. Like even my teeth were like pulsing, like my pulse was it just was so uncomfortable. And then I just could not sleep. I just could not sleep. So I eliminated that, and then I started to just stay away from caffeines, and finally got to, catching back up on my sleep. I've actually been able to sleep the past 3 days. So, yay. And today I actually slept in a bit. I would have slept in longer if somebody hadn't left the bathroom. Yes, I have my own private, like, powder room in my bedroom. If somebody hadn't turned that on and left it on, I wonder who that could have been. Heidi. Anyway, this is like the second time this has happened. Last week that happened. That's not good. So, yes, I do finally have a financial call very soon. And I was told that I was supposed to have one, an important one on Friday. It never happened. I was also told that certain things were going to occur big time last week before or on Black Friday. That did not happen at all. And then then everybody was quiet and nobody said anything. I was not happy about this. I was seriously not happy about this. So I just focused on my new job. Oh, and then at Kohl's. That was a whole other experience. I actually had a very good, pleasant experience working at Kohl's until the very end of the day. There was this couple who came in, and they could not make up their mind. They wanted a certain model, and they had the wrong. We did not carry those numbers of the products, of any of the hot products, the coffee products, because I'm also supposed to sell the coffee products at Kohl's. We also at Kohl's had tasting samples because somebody from the brand was there, already had to set it up the last week. So I was like, okay, I didn't know. So that's what they wanted, and they're like, no, you are doing this. Your brand was here and told us this is what you're doing. I was like, fine, whatever. And because that would be a lot easier. The weird thing is, people were not as interested to try any samples at Kohl's, whereas at BJ's, that's all people wanted to do was try it. Luckily, I got to try pretty much anything and everything there. This job was great. I had so much freedom to just talk with customers, be with customers, interact with customers in a different way at Kohl's than at BJ's, even though I felt I did like a lot of things about BJ's. But Kohl's it had a differentness. Also, I could interact with people even though I didn't really know the store very well. I found that if I try to familiarize myself with the surroundings, that I could actually get people more interested in the product because they would associate me as being helpful and polite and caring with the brand. So people would be, after I would try and help them, they would be looking for some product which they didn't always even buy. They just wanted to see it. It seemed like they were sort of window shopping or getting ideas. So since they were doing that, if I at least put the effort, which I definitely did, I just felt like this is actually a good thing to do, even though I don't work for Kohl's. So I would go there, I would help them, and if I couldn't get it, I could get somebody who worked at Kohl's to get it, to help them, which they're very friendly, really friendly, kind of like, just like BJ's. I feel like these two stores are much friendlier than a number of places I have already worked at. And because I did that, they would actually come back because they were shopping. Apparently, it's a thing. People go to Kohl's and they hang out for hours and just walk around. It's a giant store. It's of this area. I think this is one of the biggest stores like this I've ever seen. Also, I had no idea that Kohl's became some kind of high-end place because I haven't been to Kohl's since like what, 08 or 09, and it used to be like kind of trashy and like Kmart-ish. It's nothing like that now. It is like Macy's-ish, okay? It is like, it reminds me of like like one of those upscale JCPenney's, like really upscale with JCPenney's, like really nice. And yeah, I used to work at JCPenney. So, they would come back and then they would be more interested to demo the thing, look at the video, ask me questions. I did notice that people at BJ's were more interested in the pamphlets, whereas Kohl's they weren't. They would, if I handed it to them, they would put it back, or they were just like, nah, I don't want that. Um, People were more interested to interact with me, so I had to definitely explain a lot of things. I do think that it brought awareness to the product a lot more. If I hadn't been there, nobody would have known about it. And again, being in the store as the brand ambassador, actually, many of the employees were very interested in both locations of this soda maker. I was really happy that to be there, and I don't know about you, but I love soda. I can't really drink it that much. It's really not good for me. But um, since it was like a demo thing, I could actually have a cup of the soda and interact with people while holding the soda, so people would notice the soda. And by me drinking the soda, it also would attract people to notice the product, to notice it. So I had like three drinks throughout the day, and that every time I had a drink, I was more likely to have people interact with me, people to approach me, and then I could also explain what it tasted like, if it was cold or not, things like that. And people were very interested to know, like, what does it do? It doesn't have a CO2 canister, so how does that work? I could show them the pods. It was great. It was much easier to demo stuff at Kohl's than BJ's. So there's that. And I know this is kind of a long video by now, so I probably could go on and on and on about a lot of things. So I can't say for sure whether I'm going to be philosophical or whatever on my Twitter lately, but I have been tweeting quite a bit in recent months. I will go on, like, I wouldn't call them tirades and I wouldn't call them rants, although I definitely ranted on Twitter before. Usually if I'm going to rant, I will either Twitter or blog, but most of my rants lately were blogs. Or I'll just sort of go, I sort of, I don't know, I feel like I'm not channeling Ellen Watts, but the types of things that Ellen Watts would kind of do, sort of zen. I'm not a zen master at all, though, swear to you. I'm not even close. I'm like a speck, not even near it. Anyway, but yeah, I will go on like these, like, it's like you're in a zone, and it's like you have these thoughts, and it's like a philosopher thing, I swear. But I used to do it more when I was into spirituality, but my understanding of spirituality is more going towards philosophy, because whatever I thought spirituality was, or what I thought I needed spirituality for, I actually turned out those things came from philosophy, so hence I prefer philosophy. Um, I also like inspiration and art and sort of this expressiveness. So it's sort of that's what I like about philosophy, and especially the ancient Greek philosophers, was they were very thoughtful and very methodical in a lot of things, and yet they were very artful and very mindful of like beautiful thoughts and the way of expressing yourself in a beautiful way. Like whenever I read the Greek things, and it doesn't matter which translation or which decade it was translated in or which century it was translated in, it has a certain way that they present their words and they communicate, like the way that they speak their words, the way that their words are put out there, whether it's translated to English or whether it's translated to something else. I absolutely love that Greekness of it. It has this, it is so artful. So also my favorite periods of art are Hellenistic, and that's Greek, and it's very robust. And I also like, there was some Renaissance, and which was influenced by the resurgence of finding these Greek texts and sciences and so on. And I do have an interest in like Ming Dynasty stuff in China. Ming Dynasty was like although they were infatuated with the Great Tang Dynasty, which is interesting also, but the Ming Dynasty was like a mini Renaissance of China. It just, of course, they always wrote about the Tang, the Great Tang, but it's a very Ming kind of a thing. And there's no way to know, like, as a whole, like what exactly it is for each one of these things. Like, what is what is it? You have to kind of go through each thing and each work that was produced or whatever, and find out the different varieties of ideas, and somehow in that is like that blur is whatever is Ming or whatever is Hellenistic. Like, I think for Hellenistic, like, art, you can look like right away. It's like this robust, muscular, exaggerated, all hell breaking loose, or things like like the hair and the muscles and the facial expressions, and it's like alive and whatever. But yet each artist would do their own way of it, you know? Does that make sense? Wow. Somebody is really producing a lot of videos right now. Alright. I know that was long, and that was like a lot of blah blah blah, but that's like a ton of things all happening and me trying to express it all at once. I definitely didn't even get to half of it, but whatever. So I suppose I will be doing Vlogmas probably tomorrow. I don't know if I should count this as Vlogmas, but I don't know if you can see the glow of my face right now, but that's the glow of my Christmas tree, which is right over there, and it looks lovely. It really does. My daughter decorated it. And there we go. So I gotta get a shower, but I also need to do my conference call in like 5 minutes. So goodbye.